Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am Caitlin Dutton, the Director of Family Engagement here at Barnard. Welcome to our fourth information session for incoming students and families. We're so glad to have you here with us. I hope these conversations with our campus partners are helping you feel more prepared to arrive on campus and to embark on your journey, whether as a student or a supporter. And we're so glad that you're here. So today we'll learn what to expect when you arrive on campus for move-in day, as well as how the new Student Orientation Program, or NSOP, will help students learn about campus resources and build community, setting them up for success throughout their time here. Please feel free to add your questions to the Q&A throughout the presentation, and we'll save time to answer them at the end. Without further ado, I will pass it over to Jeff Manning, our Director for Residence Life, to talk about move-in.
Hi, everyone. I am Jeff Manning, as Caitlin just said, the Director of Residential Life. Very excited to welcome folks to campus for move-in day. It's a big and exciting day, lots of emotions, lots of good energy, and excited to share sort of what to expect as you arrive. So, of course, too far. So move-in day is Sunday, August 27th. There will be folks coming onto campus between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. We are expecting a lot of students to be around campus, folks that are going to be helping people move in and those that are moving in. But we're expecting about 710 residential students. 12 non-residential students will be around for NSOP as well. And we also have some new transfer students who are coming in on this day. Their move-in will be more from 10 to 1 p.m. And of course, a lot of family, friends, loved ones, and supporters. And so the campus will be bustling, lots of energy and lots of people to move in New York City, which adds complications in a busy metropolitan area. And so we want to make sure that you're prepared and understand sort of what to expect when you arrive and how to prepare for the day. So prior to arriving, you want to make sure that you or your student chooses a move-in arrival time on the housing portal. And so this is something they can do by logging in, choosing a move-in time that is when you should be arriving to campus. You should plan for parking. The area that you're going to be unloading in does not have room for all 710 students to park and stay parked. And so we will have some recommendations on parking garage in the areas that we can give you, but it's always good to have a plan before you arrive of where you're going to unload and where you're going to take the car to then go and help set up the room. We really recommend that you pack smart. We have the phrase of when in doubt, leave it out. These are interesting and different spaces. Your roommates are going to be bringing things. You just want to make sure that you're not overpacking and making the move-in day more difficult by needing to wait for another bin to come because you couldn't fit it all in the first one. To make sure that you have space to put everything and unload, you want to make sure you're very careful with the amount that you're packing. Carts are going to be limited. If we've got carts, they will be going constantly back and forth from the various move out or the areas with folks' belongings to the building. But if you can do anything to bring your own cart, a hand truck, or dolly, it's going to really expedite your ability to get into the building and unpack more smoothly. We also ask that folks review the prohibited items list. These can be found on the Res Life's website. Because we don't want you bringing items that we will have to confiscate and send home. These include things like candles. You can't bring your own air conditioners, no hot plates, rice cookers, toasters, really a lot of those things that are heating elements we want to avoid because we want to make sure that we are keeping the residence halls as safe as possible. So before packing up for the day, just do a look over that prohibited items list to ensure that you're not bringing anything that you shouldn't be bringing. Also, we have folks who mail things in advance. Just want to reiterate, all mail sent to Barnard students is sent to the mailroom, and this is especially important before move-in. Also of note, the mailroom is only accepting packages beginning August 21st. So you don't want your packages getting here beforehand because they won't have the staff to really be able to manage that many packages. So plan to ship those just before arrival. We don't want to be holding those for months in advance or weeks in advance at this point. So day of, we want to give you a quick overview of what the campus map will look like. This is showing a little strangely on the screen here. So we'll try and get all of the numbers. The one by the main gate that you see is the parent and family engagement tent. So this is a great place to see Caitlin, meet folks that are going to be engaging with the families. Right in the main gate, there's going to be a DJ booth. We are partying. We are excited to have students here. We want to greet everyone with smiles and excitement, and just so excited to have everyone there to start this Barnard journey. The third tent is an OL welcome tent. If you have questions about NSOP, you're not sure where NSOP check-in is, or you just have general questions about orientation, there'll be folks there who can help. Across the way, you'll see refreshments. So we will have water available and some light snacks, as we know this is going to be a big day. Towards the left of the image, you'll see the Souls Annex is in sort of an olive green with the number 5. That's where students will be sent as parents and supporters are helping to unload on the sidewalk on Broadway. That's where folks are going to be going in order to check in, get their ID, get their keys, and get the other elements they need. In the Arthur Ross courtyard, the number 6, we're going to have some campus partners, facilities, other folks who are going to be key to the move-in day. 7 is in the Diana Center. We want to note that there will be a President's Welcome for families in that building. And so for any families here, that is where you'll be going for that President's Welcome. Across the way in Alshall Hall, also in green, is the Give and Go Green sale. So if this is something that you did pack light and you found there is something that you need, you can go over there and get some gently used items to complement what you brought. And 9 and 10 down by Millbank is where NSOP, it's their sort of zone to get people excited. There'll be a Mr. Softy truck there that I'm sure you'll hear about later, and the general check-in to get your materials for NSOP. So I mentioned there will be various campus resources available. Really important in the quad courtyard for families. Facilities is going to be on site, have a table, have a tent in this area. So if you get in your room and you need to have your bed raised or lowered, if the blinds aren't working as well as they should, or there's something that is creaking or wrong, they're there and you can go down and ask someone to come up and put your name and room number on the list to ensure that they can respond quickly and get that taken care of. We don't have the ability to raise and lower beds pre-students arrival, just because we're trying to make sure that we've got all the buildings clean, set, and ready. So that's something that they're there and available at the moment to come up and do that right after you move in. Dining services is also available. We know parents and families have a lot of questions about the dining plans and how to maneuver the different dining halls. And so they'll be available on the day of to answer questions directly. Restrooms, super important. You're going to be all around campus. So we just wanted to highlight in Alshall, first floor, Milstein first floor, and Diana Center lower level, there are bathrooms available for folks as they're coming in and out and helping with move-in. If you need to pick up your Barnard swag, the Barnard store is open from 8:30 in the morning to noon, and then again from 1 to 4:30, so you can stop by and pick up whatever Barnard gear you may need. Mail services, I know we mentioned before, are open from 9:30 to 4:30. So if you have an 8 a.m. time slot, you're not going to be able to get into the mailroom until 9:30 in the morning. Another thing to note here is that they have their own dollies and they're in limited supplies as well. So you have carts that'll be in use for people moving in, and then those in the mailroom are really just going to be working off of a few dollies that they have there. So again, if you have those at home and you know, or have a friend who could bring one, that's going to be helpful in ensuring that you don't have a long wait to get your package. That's located on the lower level of Alshall Hall. And so that's where you'll find the mailroom. Food options, if you're hungry and you need a snack, Liz's place is open from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and that's in the Diana Center. So if you need a quick pick-me-up, that's your place to go and get some food for the day. So step-by-step for student move-in, you will have signed up for that arrival time slot early, and we really need folks to stick to those time slots. As I mentioned, moving in a metropolitan area can be very difficult, and we have a system that is put in place that we know how many cars roughly we can handle based on the time slots. And so if someone is arriving far in advance of their time slot, it is sort of making us fall behind and causing more of a backup in terms of traffic, carts and bins. And so it's really important. We know that it's difficult to time your time slot exactly to arrive when you said, but as best as you can manage that, it really helps the day go smoothly for everybody in order to ensure that we can manage the flow of traffic, the flow of people, and that you're not stuck outside for a super long time. Once you pull up on Broadway, we have chalk boxes on the ground that we've drawn as a place for folks to unload the vehicle. And so the carts, as I mentioned, are kind of constantly moving, and we need to keep the flow of traffic moving as well. And so you'll pull up on Broadway, help move your belongings to a square that's drawn on the ground, and you're waiting to meet your RAOL team. And so the resident assistants and orientation leaders, as you can see pictured in the images, are going to be the ones that are moving those carts. And so they'll come to you as the line folks are helping to point them in the right direction and help you to sort of load out of the chalk box on the ground into the bins and start moving in. Super important, once your car is empty, again, we need you to relocate that vehicle. It's very important for the traffic flow that those cars are staying for a minimum amount of time just to unload and go park to then help with the loading in process. So just another note to make sure you unload quickly and move on. As the folks are waiting in the chalk box, we need the resident student to go over to that SOLS annex that I saw on the map. This is where they're checking in. That's where the resident's going to go to pick up their key, their ID, and one of the questions they're going to ask is how many guests are in your move-in party, and they will give the number of stickers, and we'll talk a bit more about that on the next few slides. Once they've checked in and got their materials, they'll return to their family, to their chalk box, wait to have the bin arrive, or hopefully when they get back, the cart will already be filled and they're just waiting to go up to the room. The RNOL team will go with you with the bins up to the room. You'll unload into the room and they'll go back down to get more belongings. And after that, you're just focused on checking in at NSOP because you will have already gotten your belongings into your room. So I mentioned move-in guests, and I know this is a question folks have. And so just want to highlight that there's a temporary adjustment to account for the influx of residents, family, and supporters. So at that check-in area, residents are going to be asked for the number of guests in their move-in party. Also, a special note, guests under the age of 18 are permitted members of your move-in party. These guests must be accompanied by a parent or guardian at all times. And so it's important that if you have someone who is under 18, they shouldn't be, running down the hall and exiting and coming in without a parent or guardian present. Residents will be provided with a number of move-in guest stickers requested, and those should be worn throughout the move-in process. Please note, these stickers are only valid for move-in day, and these will not provide guest access overnight. And so these are meant to allow for friends, family, supporters to help move in, but do not connotate okay, and now that friend can stay until the next morning, a sibling can stay until the next morning as well. It is just strictly for that move-in period. Also important note, for future visits after move-in day, guests under the age of 18 must be approved by the college by submitting a minor guest permission request form at least 2 business days in advance. And we always encourage more. More details about this can be found on our website, but it's very important that residents and families don't send a sibling that's 15 on a plane from California without having a conversation beforehand with ResLife to ensure that we've checked all of the boxes. If you aren't doing that, we may or may not be able to accommodate the student depending on the level of risk and where we're at with that. So it's super important if you're planning to have someone under 18 as a visitor or guest, that you make sure to have a conversation and do the follow-up required to allow that to happen. So some tips and tricks for the day. Make sure to prepare for weather. It is going to be August, so it is very likely that it will be hot. There is also the chance that it might rain. So check the weather and do what you can to prepare. Because of the large amount of logistics involved with this day and getting the parking permits and street permits that are required, we need to move in on this day, regardless of weather. And so we want to make sure that you're looking ahead and planning for what you're going to do to make sure that you're able to do this smoothly. Also really important, stay hydrated. There's going to be water all over campus because it could be hot, because it could be a long day of moving around. We really want to make sure families and students are paying attention to their health and safety and staying hydrated. Wear comfortable shoes, and we ask you to be patient. it's going to be an exciting day. It's going to be a long day for all of the staff that are working. And we are doing our best to make sure that we get you in and get you settled. We know this is an important day. We hope that you take the time to document the moment and take pictures and enjoy this move-in period. So bring the energy, bring good vibes. We are going to be excited, and the energy you give us, we will give back tenfold. So really looking for folks to come excited to celebrate this momentous occasion. And if you need help, ask. The shirt pictured here, you're going to have move-in staff all over campus that have shirts that literally say ask me. So if you have a question, these folks have been prepped and prepared to hopefully be able to assist or know where to get assistance for any of your needs that on the day. So thank you, and we'll turn it back over to Caitlin.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That was fantastic. I really appreciate you walking us through all of that. I will turn it over to Letitia and Abby, who will talk about the new student orientation program.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. Hi, everyone. My name is Letitia Lynch. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the program coordinator for NSOP, our new student orientation program here at Barnard. And Abby, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abby McWhirter. I am a junior this year at Barnard, and I'm the executive chair.
Awesome. And so Abby is one of our committee members who works with us in planning NSOP. So especially if there are students and you have specific questions about your NSOP experience, definitely our expert in the NSOP experience. So I'm so excited to get into it. So what is NSOP? Again, that stands for our new student orientation program. This is a program to really welcome all new students to Barnard. So this includes our first year students, transfers, international students, everyone who is getting their start here at our institution. So NSOP always happens at least 1 week before classes, and this is an opportunity for you to connect with our on-campus resources, get acclimated with the area, and get to meet some of your peers who are going to be starting at Barnard with you this fall. We will also have some really great opportunities to connect with folks at Columbia, other new students who are starting at Columbia, as well as just the resources that are happening there as well. So our mission and vision. So just to walk through some of the great things that you'll experience, for us as a team, we really want to focus on things like self-discovery, having you find your passions and getting to lean into some of your academic interests here at school. We are talking about on-campus resources, so anything from health and wellness to our community safety. If you are interested in career prospects, getting familiarized with everything that we have to offer. Storytelling, we have so many great opportunities for you to be able to share what experiences you've had so far and what experiences you hope to have in the future. We have identity-based workshops and opportunities and workshops as well for you to share about your own identities and connect with those who have similar lived experiences to begin building community on campus. We'll go through academic expectations. You'll hear from our provost's office, from the honor code, from the honor board, which are some students who discuss the academic rigor and what it means to be a student at Barnard. We'll talk about social adjustment and understanding how to navigate the city. What does your social life look like, and how does that function on campus and off campus? And finally, talking about New York City. Again, what is it like to be a college student in New York City, as well as co-curricular activities of what you'll be doing when you are not in classes. So just to do a brief overview of the schedule, I do want to note for students, you are able to view your schedule through Guidebook. If anyone's having concerns, I'll have our contact information at the end. That's the best way to get in contact with us so we can use your information to make those changes on the back end. But for right now, I'll just go over what to expect for the week. So as Jeff already talked about, there will be move-in, but on the NSOP side of things, once you're moved in, you can come to the Millbank Courtyard. You'll see the Mr. Softy truck, so that'll be an easy way to find us. And then you will be able to check in with our NSOP team. They will give you a fun little gift bag and keep you posted and be available to answer any questions that you may have about the program that day. Also on Sunday, we have our President's Welcome. So things will be wrapping up at 4 and we will be in the quad. Excited to bring you over to Riverside Church, where we'll be able to hear from our campus leadership, our committee, and others who are really excited to welcome you to campus. And then there will also be some fire and safety trainings, as well as your floor meetings for those who are living on campus. On Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday will be resource session based days. So on those days, you can expect to be hearing from all of these wonderful on-campus resources about the ways that you can be supported and how to set up your time at Barnard, as well as some amazing social programs that are planned by our committee and some other joint Columbia and Barnard activities that will be happening. Wednesday is something we're trying new this year, and we want to just give you the time and space to not only process all of the busyness of moving in and having your first few days at orientation, but having a chance to explore the city and exploring your new local neighborhood. So there will be opportunities to sign up on Guidebook on Tuesday night. So there you should not be able to sign up right now, but there will be opportunities for you to connect and see what are the different tours that we're going to be doing both locally as well as in Greater Manhattan. There will also be on-campus opportunities for students as well for some fun events and connecting with some other resources. If you would like to stay on campus, we do have those options as well. And then to hop to the weekend, there will be more neighborhood tours, but this will be in conjunction with our Columbia NSOP peers. So you will meet some of the Columbia orientation leaders as well as their staff, and you will go on some other really fun experiences and tours throughout the city. I know there's a Brooklyn tour, Coney Island. So definitely, if you're not able to do a tour on Wednesday, you have so many opportunities to do so on the weekend as well. There will also be a student club fair on Sunday, as well as a chance to get to know what are some of the great clubs that are happening at Barnard, and just some ways to get involved as well. Oops, I'm jumping ahead, my bad. So community events. As I talked about, on Monday through Friday, there will be some events in the evening that are hosted by our staff. We have an amazing craft night that is always such a fun time. I feel like there are so many students that love to craft, so you will definitely get into it. We'll have a family feud. We sent out an email with the survey, so if you want to be involved and be a part of the game, please make sure to fill that out. And we'll have an amazing closing ceremony that was planned by Abby. I won't give too much away, but definitely worth going to close out the week and make sure that, we end on a really special note. And as for Columbia and Barnard events, and I want to note that we usually call these, refer to this as the 4 schools. So these are the 4 undergraduate colleges at Columbia, including Barnard. And so you will have a chance to meet with their orientation leaders at community roundtables. That is a really great way to discuss some topics about the student experience. So we discuss international students will come together and have their conversations about what it means to be an international student as a Columbia and Barnard student. We have some around health and wellness. We have some around disability justice. So there's some really powerful conversations from students who can share their experiences. And if there are any experiences that you are looking forward to or interested to hear more about. We also have an open mic night. So anyone who is super excited to show off their talents, we definitely want to sit and hype you up and give you that support. An outdoor movie night. I believe we're watching Ant-Man, and I think I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not a guidebook. But it'll definitely be such a fun event to get together on Butler Lawn, and our performance showcase where you will see some of the performing groups from Columbia and Barnard to show off their talents too. I'm going to hop to our final slide. So this is advice from our team and just wanting to share from us. Please make sure to attend as much as you can. I think the more you get involved, the more that you're able to understand what kind of journey you'd like to have and maybe learn something new that you didn't think that you would be exposed to. And also recognizing it's a really long week and it's okay to take a break. We really want you to communicate with us when there are moments where it feels that you're not able to participate or you're struggling. We're here to support you. So please let us know. Ask questions. Truly, we are totally used to hearing the same question so many different times, and we'd love to hear it again if it means that you're going to feel comfortable and make sure that you feel prepared for the week. So please do not be afraid to reach out to us. And it's truly okay if things don't feel perfect. It's a really new time. There's so much going on. It took a lot to get to this moment. So truly give yourself grace and celebrate the fact that you're at this moment already too. And we're so excited to be able to do that with you as well. So yeah, and we have our Instagram, so there'll be some great behind the scenes things. Our students are in training right now, so you'll see all of the fun times that we're having, getting ready for y'all. And that is all that I have from NSOP. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Letitia. It's fantastic. I'm going to bring everyone back on camera so that we can answer some of your questions that have come in. And everyone, please continue to put your questions in the chat or in the Q&A function as you think of them. Jeff, I'm going to start with a few for you. I know folks have kind of some logistical questions about move-in day. So first, can you clarify a little bit more about the carts and dollies? So we have some folks who are flying in from across the country. They're not able to bring one. What will they be sure to have a cart available to them? And then can you also talk about, if someone does bring one with them, how does that change the flow of their day?
Yeah, absolutely. So we will have carts available. There are plenty of carts going around. So if you don't live nearby, you don't need to worry about bringing a dolly. There will be carts. Those that do live nearby can be good community partners in helping to increase the size of our cart and dolly fleet that will help those that are flying in from further away ensure that we are getting some of those folks in. And so there's no need to worry that you're not going to get a cart. We swiftly and quickly move through people, but it is a matter of if you are close by and have the ability to bring one, we always appreciate it. If you have one, you certainly can start using that to go in and out once your student has the key. If you're also waiting for a cart, so what often happens is a family that has a dolly will unload into their chalk box. Their student will go to get their key, get their ID, get the guest stickers, come back, and then start to do some of their own loading in while another individual waits with the belongings for the RAOL cart. And so it's sort of a combined thing of you are able to do that as you go. We also have some folks who are flying in from international destinations and are only arriving with luggage that they flew in with, or they took a taxi here. And so there is an area inside the main gate that those folks will be directed to. There, they can leave the luggage in this space that will be watched by our staff as they go check in to get their keys, and then can come back and finish the move-in process. And so if you are one of those individuals who's not coming with a lot of things because you did fly in from further away, there is that space right inside the main gate that they'll direct you to leave your belongings, check in, and finish that move-in yourself.
Thanks so much, Jeff. And are there any particular tips for those who are arriving by taxi or those who are arriving on their own? Is anything different about the process for them?
If you're arriving by taxi, and again, you don't have a lot of belongings to unload, as I just mentioned, there is that area right inside the main gate where there will be people to sort of watch your luggage so that you can go check in. If you are bringing a taxi and that taxi is filled with all of your belongings, you would then want to still unload into one of those chalk boxes and then complete the process as we just highlighted.
And then talking about belongings, you mentioned the Give and Go Green sale. Can you speak a little bit more about what that is, where that is, and why folks might visit?
Yeah. And so Give and Go Green is a sustainability effort by Barnard. And so when students moved out of campus at the end of last year, they do a donation drive for gently used items, anywhere from clothing to appliances or other, just handy storage devices and shelving units and things of that nature. And so that team that runs Give and Go Green stores those over the summer. Some of it gets donated to charity. Some of that is stored to then do what they call the green sale, which is what happens during move-in in Allschul. And so they'll set up a garage sale adjacent sort of experience where all of those items are sold for a minimal fee. And that money goes back towards a climate action grant that they work on with this group. And so it's a way that they're promoting sustainability while also helping our students not need to bring all of those things, or if there's something they miss, there's a very quick on-campus option to go ahead and pick up some of those items. And so you can always stop by and peruse what people moved out and donated because they were using it, but in leaving a residence hall scenario, they thought it might be best to give to someone else moving back in.
Thanks so much. And Letitia, we have a couple of questions about when students are assigned their orientation track or group, and also how they know which group they're in. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, totally. So your orientation leaders will be connecting with you via email next week when they arrive for training. So you will receive information about what specific group that you're in, as well as the track. You're currently already in your tracks based on your guidebook schedule. So if you go to my schedule, it will populate for the track that you're currently in, but we'll make sure that that specific information is there.
Thank you. And I know we have also a question, just asking if the full schedule for NSOP is posted, and if it's not, when will it be? And I think this question is coming in from a parent.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. So for the most part, we do have it for on guidebook for our students, since they'll be seeing all of the required sessions that they'll need to go through throughout the week. I think for the most part, yeah, I think utilizing guidebook would be the best way to be able to see the full schedule and connecting with your student to see some of the opportunities that are going on.
Perfect, thank you. And I know we also had a couple of questions about when students will meet with their advisors. Can you talk about that timeline?
Yeah, so for the most part, I know for orientation, there will be some academic advising sessions. So we'll make sure that those are added to the schedule, but more so they're optional opportunities for students to begin to have conversations about either credits or making sure that for the timeline for confirming, I know there's one of the deadlines during the week of NSOP as well, about adding classes. So those will be opportunities for people to talk with an advisor to make sure that they feel prepared for that process.
Thank you. And Jeff, I'm going to go back to you with a couple of questions about decorating and, actually, fixing up your room once you arrive in it. So can you talk about what's provided in each room, and also how students can hang things up on the walls, decorate, that sort of thing?
Yes, I will also highlight our website has a much more comprehensive list of what you can expect in each room. Often there's even pictures about what those rooms look like in general. So that's a great resource because you're going to be testing my memory, and it's a bit different in every building and every area. But you can expect to have a bed, a dresser, and somewhere to hang up clothing, and a desk. And so and a desk chair. We don't make you bring your own chair either. So those are pretty standard in all of our buildings. And really encourage folks to spend some time. Our Res Life website has a lot of information. And so it's definitely a good resource to spend some time looking through. It talks about, as I mentioned, the prohibited items. It talks some even about hanging of things on the walls. And I mean, it goes without saying that we are not looking for people to put nails in the wall or create holes, because these spaces are utilized every year. And so if there are big holes in the wall, we have to go in and repair them. And that could equate to a fine for the students to help us pay for the damage that's done. And so much better use of your time is looking at those 3M command hooks and things that aren't going to damage the paint, but are going to allow you to hang things up. And so really being cautious about what it is that you're using. Another thing I'll highlight is those temporary wallpapers that you can put up and are very popular. They do, they make the room look very nice. We don't allow those because they don't come off quite as easily as they advertise. And so that's equated to many hours for our campus facilities team, trying to get wallpaper off the wall and we're always working in a very short timeline between when students move out and when some of our summer programs move in. And so really discourage people from utilizing some of those that are supposed to be easy peel that don't often end up being so after they've been on a wall for that long.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Another popular question in the chat is about parking garages. I know you spoke about this a little bit, but once you are moving your vehicle away from Barnard's campus, where can you actually take it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a lot of parking garages in the area. Some of those, again, you can find right now on our website. If you search on Res Life's website for parking, we list a lot of the local parking garages. And the day of, all of our staff members in CARES, Community Accountability Response and Emergency Services. So these are our folks in community safety and the response team who are in the guard booths, who are helping with parking, are going to have a lot of these quarter sheets that they're handing out that have some important phone numbers on one side and the local parking garages on the other. And so if you forgot where it is, or you've done some pre-research as we recommended, but you want to find the number or the address, they'll have those handy, and you can always ask someone for it that's out there on Broadway, because we will certainly be encouraging you to go and park your vehicle and providing you the information you may need.
Thank you so much. And Abby, I have a question for you that's come in the chat as well. Can you talk a little bit about attendance throughout NSOP?
For sure,
What's required versus not required? And also, we have a couple of questions from parents wondering if there's a good time during the week to see their students and what sort of availability they have.
Yeah, so this year's NSOP schedule is set up in kind of a pattern. So you're going to have 4 required sessions on Mondays, 3 on Tuesdays, a free day like we talked about on Wednesdays, and that's the day where students really are going to get to pick and choose what they want to do. We have excursions on that day, which are Barnard-led excursions into both the city and just around Morningside Heights. And then on Thursday and Friday, we also have 4 sessions and 3 sessions. And those sessions are required sessions. It may sound like a lot, but I have to say that these sessions are really what I think as a student and both like as an NSOP leader are super essential for students to like thrive in our campus environment. Without some of these resources, I definitely would have been a little lost my first few weeks at school. So I really recommend everyone to go to that stuff. And of course, there are more optional social events at the end of the day, and on Wednesday and on the weekends, and those are not mandatory. However, I really encourage everyone to go to those. I think those are where I met some people who I'm still really good friends with to this day. It really helped me feel a lot less alone coming to campus. And when parents can see their students, it would be on times that are not necessarily during those required sessions. So that would be at the end of the day, on a Wednesday, on a weekend. But I really encourage students to, get out there, meet people, take advantage of campus life, and really go to as much as possible. Of course, taking breaks for yourself is super important as well. So
Great advice. Thanks, Abby. Jeff, we also have some more logistical questions about the mailroom. So especially for our families who are coming from further away and their students may have more items in the mailroom than someone is, than in their car. Can you just talk a little bit about what that pickup process is like? If you anticipate a line, if you recommend that folks grab their stuff first and then start moving in, or, what have you?
I mean, it really depends on the hour of day and the way time slots shake out in terms of how busy or not busy the mailroom is. I think your first priority is to get the key, get access to the room, and make sure that you have all of the belongings you brought with you in the room. Then I would maybe take a breeze by the mailroom and see what the situation looks like. If there is a long line, if there seems to be a wait, that's a great time to go check in at the NSOP tent or get Mr. Softy or check out the Give and Go Green sale. And it usually ebbs and flows throughout the day. A few things with the mailroom, you want to make sure that you're not overpacking things in a way. If you're mailing things, you don't want to mail a 300-pound box because you then have to get that on the dolly and get it all the way across campus. And so we just recommend that you pack smartly if you do mail things to the school. And so it is something that is difficult to predict. There is more mail staff on hand, and that is a department with its own website. And so if you do have specific questions about the mailroom, I definitely encourage you to reach out to get a sense of what they expect and how they're going to be managing the traffic flow. But I will say, having done this a few years, they get through folks quickly. We don't often have families begging to use a cart to get to the mailroom because they're able to use a lot of their resources to ensure they know this is a really busy day and that we do have a lot of students who end up mailing things here, just as a way, especially if you're coming from California, to get things here pretty quickly and easily.
Thank you. So Letitia and Abby, on Sunday, can you talk about when the NSOP programming begins for students, and kind of on the flip side of that, when parents should plan to leave campus?
Totally, I can go for that. So for NSOP itself, again, we'll start with check-in, and then really President's Welcome will kick everything off. I also did want to plug that there will be a President's Welcome for families in the afternoon. There will be 2 opportunities for students to do, for families to participate, but specifically the President's Welcome program that's in the evening is for our students. So they will have the chance to connect with each other and get to connect with our committee who will be leading us in that. And I think I missed the second part of your question.
And remind us what time that President's Welcome for students is.
Yes, so students are encouraged to go to the quad at 4:00 so you can start walking over. And like I said, in Linchu, there will be an opportunity for streaming where the event will officially begin at 5:00. So that's when you'll be able to start watching the program or be able to head over to Riverside. There is going to be limited seating, so we really encourage you to come to the quad and head over with us, and we'll get you all situated.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and sorry, I know for the families as well, we're going to have an opportunity for y'all to cheer on the students as they're going to President's Welcome. So that'll be a really fun moment around 4:30 to have y'all come to campus and be able to cheer. There'll be a little fun giveaway too. I don't want to give away too much, but definitely we really encourage it.
Yeah, so parents and families, you will get an email in the coming days with the details of all of this timeline. So don't feel like you need to write everything down. But we will have the President's Welcome for families in the event oval in the Diana Center, which is the orange building in the middle of campus. That will be at 1:45 for families whose students have move-in times before 12:30, and then again at 2:45 for students who have move-in times after 12:30. So I really encourage you to come meet President Rosenberry, see our Dean of the College, Leslie Greenidge. They're very excited to welcome you to the extended Barnard family as well, and they'll be able to answer your questions. And we also, you can stop by and visit the Barnard store, which is on the main level of the Diana Center. We'll have some refreshments for you over there as well. And then between 4 and 4:15, 4:30, we'll invite you all to go outside to the lawn and line up along Garvey Walk to have that send-off moment as your students are walking with the OLs to Riverside Church, which should be a really special way to send them off to the beginning of NSOP. Let's see. Can you talk a little bit about meals during move-in day? I think, Jeff, you might be able to answer this question.
Yes. So during move-in day from 8 to 4 p.m., Liz's place will be open, which is our cafe in the Diana Center. And so people are arriving at various times throughout the day. And so there isn't sort of an organized meal or event for students because not everyone is going to be there yet. And so if you have an 8 a.m. time slot and you've moved in and you're done by lunch, we encourage you to, go out to lunch with your family, spend some time exploring campus and those various resources that I've already highlighted. If you do want to pick something up on campus, that Liz's Place Cafe is going to be your option. And then that evening, to kick off NSOP for the students, there's going to be a barbecue of sorts that they'll be able to go and hopefully meet some new folks, eat before they're kicking off some of the evening events. And so dinner is sort of the first big meal. Once folks have all moved in with time slots ending around 2 to 3, that's when they'll start to transition over into having that meal plan.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. And then another question about NSOP. So will sessions be recorded during orientation if a student cannot be present?
Yes, that's an awesome question. So there will be core sessions that will be recorded. We're going to work to see if there are some different resources that we can provide, but we'll do that all in a follow-up email to all participants after NSOP on Sunday, September 3rd.
And is there someone in particular that a student should reach out to if they're, feeling sick and they're not able to attend something?
Yeah, definitely. Abby, do you want to connect about talking about the orientation leaders, group captains?
Yeah, so we have the best staff in the world. The OLs, orientation leaders, they are coming to campus next week. And they are a group of returning students who are just super passionate about welcoming your new students to campus. And they are the first connection of quote unquote staff that will be working with your students, and they are the ones who will be making sure your students are where they need to be, providing them with extra resources, being a friendly face. So any questions or concerns your students have throughout the week should be directed to the OLs. Those OLs will also report to crew captains, which are here right now. Those crew captains report to the committee, and we report directly to the Student Experience and Engagement Office. So we're all super in communication, and everyone is really taken care of during this week.
Thank you. And we also had one question from someone who missed it. How do we sign up for the community events? Can you just reiterate that?
Yeah, so it will be immediately through Guidebook. So on Tuesday night, we will release the spots. So there is a certain limit just to make sure for safety purposes as we're traveling through the city. Our ratio is 1 to 10 students. So we're hoping to have multiple iterations of each of the tours that are listed on Guidebook. But again, we'll have tours on Wednesday and also on the weekend. And sometimes you're like, hey, oh my gosh, my group is really cool and we just want to go to Hungarian and get lunch. Please go for it. We really encourage it. So yeah, there's so many opportunities to sign up, but definitely all roads lead back to Guidebook.
Okay, now you'll have to tell everyone what Hungarian is.
Ooh, Abby, I think you're gonna be the one to do that.
Hungarian pastry shop is like the quintessential Columbia Barnard coffee shop that's on Amsterdam, and the line is always out the door and down the street, but it is such a staple of the Columbia University community. You'll be standing in line and you'll see people from your classes, you'll see literally everyone and anyone at this shop. And yeah, they have really great pastries, but they also have good coffee. I'm a fan of tea, so I always get tea when I'm there, and everyone loves to study there. It's great. It's small and quaint and really cool and super fun.
Great. Jeff, we had a couple of folks asking if you can talk about what the move-in process is specifically for transfer students. So whether they're living in a residence hall that's not part of the quad right on campus, but also if they're living off campus.
Yeah, so for transfer students, as you're moving in, you're going to get a bit more specific instructions because transfer students may not necessarily be living directly in the quad with the first year students. And so depending on your housing assignment, you will have different locations to arrive. So that information will be very individualized and specific. So I'd say check your email. Some of the groups will be checking in that Saul's Annex, right where the other students are checking in that day. Some, I believe, will be checking in down at one of our buildings on 110th Street. And we may have some folks checking in at Plimpton. And so it's very, depending on who you are and where you're living, you'll get instructions. And if you're ever unsure, you can always give our office a call or send us an email at housing@barnard.edu, and we can answer sort of specifically for you after you get that information, if there's still any confusion. And so what was the other question, Caitlin, about?
What about transfer students who are living in off-campus apartments? So they're not participating in that residential hall check-in, but they do need to come to campus at a certain point.
Yes. So there is a session that's happening for non-residential students as part of that welcome to campus. And so we encourage you to come by. That's where you'll get your ID. You're still going to be doing that check-in. I don't have the time and location off the top of my head, but there will be some communication within the Department of Residential Life and Housing. We have a co-director model. And so my counterpart, Lizeth Ramirez, is the director of housing operations and non-residential student support. And so she's really taken the lead in helping to engage our non-residential students. She can be reached either as an off-campus at barnard.edu email address to help to address specific needs of students who are not living on campus, but are still going to be engaging with our office.
Thank you. And we also have a couple folks asking, and it's a little hard to estimate, but your best guess on how long the check-in process is expected to take.
Oh, it is a guesstimate, and it really it's going to be a live experience. So I would say based on last year, I would expect anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour in total. It really, I can't speak to how long people are in the parking line, but it isn't sort of you pull up, you're in 20 minutes. It is going to take a bit more time than that. I believe there's around 20 people arriving every 15 minutes. And so we're keeping up with that as quickly as we can. This is why I stress that it's really important to do your best to arrive within your time slot, because if we've prepared for 20 people in a 15-minute increment, and if that becomes 40, it gets a little more complicated. And so again, we really just ask for folks' patience. We want to make sure you're drinking water, you're staying informed, and we will have staff all along Broadway keeping you updated, letting you know sort of what the time has been, what it's looking like, and making good conversation and keeping spirits high. So I would prepare for a 30-minute to an hour window, and just want to make sure folks aren't thinking, it says my arrival time slot is 8:30 and I'm going to be in my room by 8:45 and settled. It is going to take some time, and there's a variety of moving parts there. We're going to try and keep you moving throughout. We're going to send the student to get their keys and check in. We'll have folks coming around with water and snacks. And so we're going to be prepared for it, but want to make sure folks are thinking about that as they're planning the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one question that just came in. Their move-in slot is at 8 a.m. How early can they arrive on campus?
You should arrive as close to 8 a.m. as possible. Again, Broadway is a very active street. We have worked with the city to get the permit that lets us have people unload in that area. but it isn't something that you're going to be able to sort of arrive and park there for a lot of hours before it opens. And so we always have that handful of families that are trying to get there as early as possible. You may have to circle the block a few times or park somewhere a little further away, because we do reserve that street to ensure that we don't get people who are not affiliated parking, and then we have to find out how to get them towed or get those things, because they don't even know it's Barnard's move-in day. So there will be barricades that prevent people from parking there, and those will probably be pushed out or removed very close to 8 a.m. to ensure that the staff is ready to receive folks and that we're ready to go and those spots haven't been taken. So as close to 8 a.m. as possible. Maybe we are really firing on all cylinders and we'll be open a little early, but that's typically it's right up against 8 a.m. is when we're ready to start.
Thank you. And so we have some parents who are also thinking ahead, right? So this is the fall semester move-in. Can you talk about what happens during winter break in terms of items in the residence halls? And then again, with move out at the end of the spring semester, what do folks usually do with their belongings?
Yeah. So folks that are staying with us from fall semester to spring semester don't need to, remove their items between those semesters. We do want you to make a plan for where you are going to live during that time, as we have winter housing, but it's used very sparingly for folks that have a variety of circumstances that don't let them leave campus. And so that is something that the college doesn't have as many resources during that winter months, because those of us that work here are also going to see family and making it our time to take a break. And so it is something that we want to make sure families have a plan for where students are going and where they're going to spend that time between the fall and the spring semester. But you don't need to worry about where your belongings are going to go. If there are students that were studying abroad or they weren't coming back the following semester for any other reason, those folks would be asked to move out at the end of the semester. In terms of the end of the year, very important, look at the dates that are on and I should know this off the top of my head when move out day is, but they are all posted on our website in terms of the days that you need to make sure that you are departing. Generally, we ask students to leave 24 hours after their last final. They may not know that now because they don't know their spring classes, but there is a very firm end date because, as I already mentioned, we have summer programs. We have a pre-college program where students that are in high school come to Barnard and are taking classes and getting that experience. And so we have a very quick turnaround time. And so I know folks are often trying to maneuver, stay a little bit later. It works better for their flight home, or they have another commitment with an internship. That's very difficult for us to accommodate, just given the logistics of cleaning the buildings from one end of spring semester and getting ready for our very busy summer session. In terms of move out, there will be carts available for move out and even the spring move in when we have some new students, a smaller number, but some new students. So carts are always available in the lobbies of the buildings. And so there will be the same carts. There won't be the RA and OL teams helping to push those carts for you. That will be on you to load those up and move them out, but you will have access to those. And I should also mention, because I don't think I said this for transfer move in, but students who are transferring in, there will be carts available at the buildings that you're moving into off campus. So you don't need to worry about rolling them from main campus all the way to, Plimpton or some of our buildings that are a few blocks away. So when you're moving out, you'll have those carts. You'll drop a key express checkout envelope into a box at the front with your keys. Don't bring those home with you. Those need to come back to us so that, again, we can give them to the next folks that are moving in. So that's a preview of closing in the end of spring.
And for those who live far away, are there storage options, or what do you recommend in terms of storage?
I don't think we have any, this is the best service and we recommend this one. But again, I do think there are some links on our website to some storage groups that will do this. And there's a variety of options where you can find storage in the area and they'll arrange a time to pick it up. Sometimes you can arrange to mail belongings off to a storage facility and then they'll mail them back to you the following year. And so it would be good to review the options that you have and decide, kind of depending how much you're looking to store, what you want to do with it. But many of our students have storage companies that in those last few weeks of campus are coming to pick items up and bring them back each year. So it's something that many students do and are familiar with the process of getting that sorted and getting folks there and into the building.
And Letitia, we had a couple of questions about Labor Day. Can you talk about when the NSOP programming ends?
Yes, so all final programs will be on Sunday, September 3rd. So we're just honoring the holiday, so that will be a day off right before the start of classes. So nothing required from us. Go have fun. Have more fun.
A good day for students to have a little bit of a breather before they start class. And then I'll just ask one or two more quick questions. We had one asking where they can find the link to sign up for their move-in time slot and if they need to change that time. Is that possible?
So move-in time slots are on the housing portal. And so you can go and see what is available, and you are able to change it via the housing portal. I know there are folks that some of those slots are already taken, and that's when they would like to arrive or plan to arrive. And again, we would ask that you find the time closest to them and go to lunch before coming here, or take a last minute shopping trip nearby to get some of the items you didn't bring. Because again, it's so important that we try to keep as close to those arrival slots as we can to ensure the day is smooth for everybody. And so, we want to work with you, but we also want to make sure that we don't cause an issue for the larger group by trying to make some of these exceptions to those arrival time slot periods.
Thank you so much. So I'll give you all just, this is a lot of information, I know. If there's one thing that you want folks to really hang on to, and maybe one thing that you think that parents should reiterate to their students as they start on this beginning of the semester, what would that be?
I can go for this one. I think as a student, I think that's something that I want to tell other students, and I want to ensure parents, is that NSOP is a really wonderful formative experience that is, for me, it was really, I think, transformative in the sense I had been away from home before, but anytime you go to a new place, it's terrifying. And the internal dialogue that I was having, I was so nervous. I didn't know if I would make friends. And now I'm a junior at this school and I have the best group of friends. I have reached goals that I never thought possible. And really, I think what I want students and parents to know is that Barnard is the place to be. And I'm not just saying that as a student, I'm saying that as just a human being, and that every one of my friends who's here, we all love it. And genuinely, the people here as well are here to support you, and they're here to help you, not only the other students, but also the staff, also the faculty, also the administrators. I've never been in such a welcoming place. And I'm just really excited for everyone to get to experience Barnard with me, with my peers, and as their own human, and really discover what Barnard means to them.
That's the perfect place to end it. Thank you so much, Abby. And thank you, Jeff and Letitia, for answering all of these wonderful questions and for putting on these informative presentations. Thanks to you all for being here and for asking these questions. I have on the slide, if you have additional questions for the orientation team or for residential life and housing, please feel free to reach out to them there. If you have a question about mail services or registration or something else, feel free to send those my way and I can connect you to the right person. And I hope many of you will join us next Tuesday for our final session about building community at Barnard. So please, you can still register if you'd like to attend. And this session will be recorded. The future sessions will be recorded as well. I'll be sending the links out tomorrow. So I know this was a lot, so if you want to go back and, this is available as a resource for you. So thank you so much again for joining us. Have a great rest of your evening, and we look forward to welcoming you on campus very soon.